the little H. Oh, now it is. Okay.
Okay. Yes. Hi, this is Jeremy Murphy. I am the creator of the Positivity Patrol. And today we're going to be discussing magnifying our greatest expectations and how we can do that. And I'm joined by Carla Reichman. And I can't pronounce it correctly. I'm sorry. Carla, you live near Washington, D.C., I'm told. Is that correct?
Yes, I live 25 minutes from the Obamas, and they haven't invited me for a meal yet.
Oh, well, that day will come.
I'm hoping so. I really want to laugh with them.
Yeah, that day will come. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to get right to our material here. There's a great book by Charles Dickens, and he's written many novels, including The Christmas Carol, Great Expectations, Oliver Twist, and I can't remember if I've read all of Great Expectations. So do you remember have you read it, Carla? Have you read any Dickens novels?
A long time ago.
Okay. But I would, the things that got my attention from that, number one was the title. We have to have, I think we have to have directional goals, and they should be oriented in the way we want to go. We have to mix them with our vision and our mission. And so at first I thought the appropriate title would be Great Expectations. And then I thought that wasn't positive enough. So I decided, well, maybe we should say Greater Expectations. And I decided that wasn't positive enough. So I changed it to Greatest Expectations and decided that should be magnified a little bit. And that's about the level of positivity that I think we need to have when it comes to what our expectations are for success and finding happiness in life and trying to figure out how to do that together. So the Great Expectations is kind of that's kind of a basic level. Greater Expectations is having some kind of larger vision that's maybe at a higher level. And the Greatest Expectations I would describe as the view from 30,000 feet, the view from the sky that looks at where you're going to figure out, what is your life's mission and legacy? What do you want to be the lasting legacy when you're not here anymore? And Carla, maybe we'll start this out by just kind of asking, do you have an understanding of what you want your lasting legacy to be?
Yeah, and I'm feeling a little frustrated with it today, but I want my legacy to be that people are smiling and laughing more in the world.
That's great. And when we don't smile or laugh enough on Blab, we have polite people reminding us of that. And I noticed that earlier, people were saying you people aren't smiling enough. And then when they found that we were, they changed their tune and said, thanks for smiling more. So, and that's difficult to do though, isn't it? Or is it?
That's a really interesting question. I was just in a Blab with Bonnie, who I know you know.
Yes, Bonnie.
And I'm answering a sideline.
Okay.
And Bonnie, someone came in and said, I've been in Blabs with Carla. And when she smiles, it's totally infectious. And then she stops smiling, and it's like a letdown. And I think she needs to smile more. And then someone came in on the Blab and said, but you can't smile constantly.
True.
And I said, well, that's not necessarily true. Because when you smile, you're sending a message from your brain to every cell in your body to get the endorphins moving, and you actually begin to relax more. So when you smile, it's so very important to just keep on smiling. And, you know, when you're in a rough situation, if you smile, you may find that it becomes easier for the other person as well as yourself, because your smile relaxes you and that makes the other person laugh.
True.
And can I just add one more thing before I
Sure.
forget
Yes,
it?
please do.
The other thing about a smile is when you're smiling and someone's angry at you and you just look at them. I remember Sri Sri Ravi Shankar talking about them, and you just smile, they just begin to relax. They relax with the what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the person who spoke to me about smiling. I want to welcome him.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. To wonder if smiling is a part of emotional intelligence. Do you think it is, Carla? I think it's
I
interesting to see
think it
adults have a
really,
different sense of what emotional intelligence is than children do.
I I think children have more of an understanding of what's important in life than we as adults do.
Mm-hmm.
They are still connected with their source. They're still connected with who they are until people start saying, but you can't do that and you can't do this, and just, you know, no, no, no.
Right.
Instead of saying to the children, let's move on, let's find the joy within.
Yep.
And I think it's so important that we teach children, we teach ourselves to go back and become connected with ourselves and nature and life again.
Right. I agree. Yeah, that's it's amazing how children seem to have a lot of that right. The emotional intelligence, remembering to laugh, to be happy, to find joy in what they do, and I don't know. As adults, we get so caught up in our work and our problems and our struggles and chaos and challenges, but we have to look at the positive side of those things too, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. But you can, you know, when you get angry or you get upset because of something that has happened, it's not helping anyone.
Right.
But if you can smile and go through the day and live through the day, then it does help people because it helps other people relax.
Right. What about part of what I wanted to talk today about, Carla, was a magnification, magnifying our positivity. Do you think we can magnify our smiling and our laughter? Sort of like, if we can't see something, sometimes we need binoculars or a telescope or a microscope, depending on what it is, and then we have a clearer vision of what it is. But I'm trying to figure out. I think we can do that with positivity. I'm guessing we can probably do that with smiling and laughter too. Don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you can just decide what you want to do for yourself and how you want to live life. Happiness is a choice. And you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be sad. And it's the choice you make that goes out into the world.
Right. And isn't part of being able to do that, being grateful for what we do have, and even if it's difficult, even if it seems challenging at time?
Yeah. Being grateful is important because even though it's challenging, you're still on this planet and you're breathing and you're moving around and you're alive. And just being able to do that is a gift in itself.
True. That's true.
Someone just wrote, and it wrote it to me because I was talking about smiling, that there is a TED Talk right now
Wow.
about smiling. And being right on point. And I asked that person to send me that link.
Oh, good.
But it's a very important thing. We don't do it enough. Actually, I'm starting a challenge to make people smile more. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Can we let Jacob in?
Yes,
He's a good guy.
I'll let Bill in here too.
That's
Hi,
that's how you do it, Carla.
Hey, Jacob and Bill.
Jacob, just get your hat that says happy, happy.
I love it.
I just saw it. Come on, Jacob. We want you to come in.
Yeah, Jacob,
I just wanted to jump back for a second and let you know that, Mr. Bill.
I know who you are, Cage Adam, but I forgot your name. Can you give it to me again?
What's going on with
someone on the sidelines. I'm sorry.
It's pointed in the wrong direction, Jacob.
Yeah, it's you have it reversed somehow. I've never seen somebody have that problem. Oh, I don't know what happened.
Depends if he's on a phone or something like that. It could be.
Yeah, keep trying. Oh, there we go. Okay.
There he is. Am I smiling enough now, Jacob?
I love it. I appreciate it.
Jacob took the tape off his camera so he can.
I'm not an expert, but I think that there is some research that shows also that people who smile are more attractive, like literally, like from other people's.
There is research on that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But,
so if you
and
want
actually,
to
there's
boost your
a
attractive
quote.
score. And what?
There's a quote, Jacob, that the smile is the most beautiful curve on your body.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's probably true. Yeah,
I
so I just wanted to say that. That's all. So, but thank you guys
it's like
for smiling.
Which nipples are prettier, the one on your face or the ones on your butt?
Oh, let's stick with the face. Let's stick with the face. Although I would say a lot of the most important beauty is inside. We forget that. We're so focused on the exterior. We got to think about what is on the inside, what is in the soul that reflects to the whole world. And I think that's why I'm excited to see what people like Carla are doing, spreading smiling and laughter throughout the world and making it a global thing. I mean, that is a big mission. And that's, that's somewhat similar to the mission I have with positivity, trying to spread it to all 7 continents. And I mean all 7. I don't mean 6 or 2 or 3. I want it on all 7. But I only know people on 2, maybe 3 or 4 now. So I have to work on being able to reach out to the other continents and find ways to bring that message to them.
Yeah, I like that idea of spreading positivity. I mean, right now I have a little temporary day job where I'm a barista at a Starbucks, and being back in a retail position is like, there's a lot of people complaining about stuff at work and, those kinds of things. And like, it doesn't really happen around me. Like, people have to go away from me to complain, which is really interesting. It's like, they can tell, so when you're being positive, it does keep sort of the negative away in a way. So, cool.
It does. And it doesn't, it pulls, what I find is it pulls the people with the most negative polarity are temporarily pulled towards you. And there's this resistance. And so every once in a while, it's like once in a blue moon now, I'll have 2 or 3 people pop out and they'll be very negative. And I'll just say, wow, I can't, having been a line negative before as a recovering negativist, I have to realize that I was once like that, but I found that was not fruitful. It wasn't productive. It wasn't my mission. And once I awakened to the possibility that positivity is my North Star and what I need to use to align my life, and that if it's not true north, then I need to, align it back and make sure that it's aiming high and far enough that I can achieve whatever my lifelong legacy is meant to be. And I think that's something that all of us, that's one of the things that, it's one of the most difficult questions I've had to ask myself is what is my lifetime legacy going to be? And how much time do I have to complete it? And how can I move with enough urgency to make sure that it's completed before I'm gone? So I have.
That sounds like really serious.
Yeah.
Yep. But I mean, if people are being negative to you, I mean, do you worry that sometimes like maybe you're attracting that somehow? Like you're putting out the vibe of like, be mean to me, like, or something. I don't know. Like,
I don't, but along the lines of what he said is, he feels that negativity being drawn toward him. And I think that in a lot of times when we encounter those people, that attraction is pulling you more towards them. And that's where you got to put the brakes on and go the other way.
True.
Back to your, because it's just the way things are. Those negative people are in such a negative spot that, they're trying, it's like that energy is trying to pull you down towards them instead of staying where you are.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is
and the cool thing about legacy too, Jeremy, is that, you're thinking about your legacy. I mean, think of legacy in another term. Think of legacy as, what are you leaving the world to carry on? And so it's not just your legacy. It's an ongoing thing.
That's true. Yeah, we got to think about who takes the torch when we leave, and I think that's a great way to put it, Bill. We think about how our children and our spouses or families or friends can pick up where we left off and take things to the next level, but at least to lay the foundation so that people can see where we're going, how we're going there, what steps need to be taken, and to sketch that out well enough that someone could actually walk in, look at the map, and proceed accordingly, and and take your legacy to the next level. But I think we get so caught up with, what do I have to do today? What do I have to do this week? What do I have to do before Christmas or the end of the the beginning of the new year? But we need to think. We need to think long term too. We need to think big picture, and then reverse engineer it so that we're figuring out what 50 steps do I have to take before I can fulfill that mission, or what 500 steps.
It's a great idea.
Just like going to the grocery store. I mean, you have to go. So what's the first step? Taking the first step.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great idea.
You got to take that first step just to get started. So
the
whole world to be happy or be positive, but like in my experience, the only person that I have control over is me. Like I'm the only person that can be happy. I can't make this other person be positive or happy or any of that kind of thing. The only thing that I can change is myself. So like in terms of legacy, like if it's what you're thinking about, to me, like, I don't know, that would be a heavy weight, like a heavy burden to carry. Like there's no way that I could be like, man, I want world peace. And if I don't get world peace by the time I die, then like, I mean, I would just be miserable, like, I don't know.
But that's just it. True. I mean, if you're thinking in those terms, Jacob, I mean, it becomes, you're thinking of it in the kind of reverse of what you should, because you want world peace. Okay, so where does that start? The world
that's
peace.
My point.
Yeah, it starts with you. So you have to get that
exactly
inner world peace in your inner world, and then that changes your frequency, and now you're putting that out to the world, and somebody else is going to catch that fire and keep carrying it. So unless we talk about it, it's not going to happen. Type of thing.
Why not experience it?
Well, that's why I say, it starts internally.
Well, let me finish. Why not experience the inner peace within, and then you'll be spreading out the world peace.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. And the same goes for happiness also, right?
Right.
True.
Everything comes from within.
Yeah, we don't take the time to do this, though. That's the problem. We don't realize how important that inner stillness is to create enough positivity, happiness, joy, laughter, to make all of that contagious. Because if it's, if it's not at a high enough frequency, it's not going to connect. And then we do feel like, like Jacob said, that we can't force anybody to be. And it's true. I would agree. We can't force people to be positive or happy, but we can encourage them. We can twist their arms if they're family members or close friends of ours, or say, look, you have infinite possibilities here. You think you have just two paths, and maybe you have, 10 or 12, something like that. So I know Carla had to go, so appreciate you being with us for a while, Carla.
Yeah, and I just jumped in real quick because I've
Okay.
got to get going too. So
Sure.
but I
Thanks,
saw
Bill.
you still on the air and want to
Yeah.
jump in, say hi, and say happy.
Yeah, I appreciate you adding the reinforcement of the happiness, the triple happiness, as they say.
Bill, before you go, and I'm going to ask Jeremy, could we do a 5-minute laughter meditation?
Please.
I'm okay with that. If you want to do that, sure.
Well,
Maybe not 5 minutes,
I'd love
maybe like
to,
1
Carla,
minute.
but I really do. I've got to go, or I'm going to have an accident in this chair.
Oh, okay.
I've been drinking coffee, and I was on another blab for over an hour, so
Drinking
I got to
Oh,
take care of
okay.
business. So I will catch you all later.
Okay, thanks,
I
Bill.
hate to see you go, Bill.
Well, I'll be around. We can laugh at some point in time. I know we will. And there we go. We can laugh right now a little bit. So on my way out, I'm going to keep on laughing. So
Okay, laugh your way out. Laugh
All
your
right.
way
It does have the best
Okay.
laugh. You have the best
It's
laugh.
okay, Jeremy. I shouldn't have pushed that on you.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
No. You don't have to do it, but I appreciate the laughing.
Yeah, there is one blab that's on every day at 1 p.m. Central, and the hosts they always laugh their way out, and that's tough to do. Some days there bad things happen even in the middle of their own blab, and even when it happens, they still find a way to do that. I was on their show once. I was being attacked by a troll. It was the first time it ever happened on their blab on a show, and I decided to stay on the blab, ignore the troll. I decided to laugh my way out, and we've got to try to focus on positive things. We can't get caught up in this happened and this bad news, and yes, bad things happen, but we need to take steps to talk about the good news too. And there aren't enough people doing that. So if you're interested in that, I want to try to work with you and figure out what positive things we can tell people every day to get us refocused on things in a positive sense and not get so caught up in what negative things or chaos or unexpected challenges we're faced with.
I mean, the easy thing is like gratitude. Like,
true.
Like Carla, like thank you so much for laughing, because I mean that's awesome. Like,
Thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah, I can totally see how people would want to be in a class with that. Like, I mean, that makes sense to me. And Jeremy, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, thank you for like wanting to share positivity. I mean, that's freaking awesome. Who doesn't want to do that? So. Step one.
Okay, and let's see. I'm trying to greet everybody. Let's see.
I've been doing that.
Oh, yeah, Mary, I'm sorry you need to go. I understand, look, we all have busy lives and other commitments, so I understand. I'm just grateful that you're here for whatever length of time you are here and are able to participate, and any way we can work together to spread positivity, joy, laughter, and happiness throughout the world. Let us know. We're all ears. We want to try to work together in a cooperative way. And I firmly believe that cooperation makes miracles happen. And if we try to cooperate and make a serious effort about that, it does make miracles happen that otherwise would not happen. If we're all in our own little silos and we throw pity parties and just say woe is me all day, I mean, life's too short to do that. I've done my share of that. I'm done with that. I can't live that way anymore. It's too depressing. The world needs more positivity, joy, happiness, and laughter than it has right now. And so we need to find ways to do that and to be ambassadors of peace and goodwill to others. And that means being more diplomatic, being more understanding, being better listeners. Very challenging, I agree, but it's, that's something that if you have the gift of being that diplomatic a person and it's part of your personality, I think we all have to use our strengths. We all have to recognize our strengths and find them and develop them.
Yeah, and a trick that I use
Jeremy?
like for
Yes, yes, Carla.
Because I have to go in a moment.
Sure.
Just two things. Is Mary level up? Oh, I need to answer that. And number two, maybe we could do something later and offer a laughter meditation.
Okay.
Later today, because I am going to do that later today.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know. I'll be around today. I'm traveling tomorrow. So, but today I might be able to, if you let me know. Okay.
Is Mary level up your game? The person you called
yeah.
Mary.
She
yes,
said yes.
I think so. Yes. Yes, it is. Yep.
Okay.
She says yes.
Okay. Mary, let me give you my Skype name and send me a request and we'll come up with a time. Is that all right with you? I'd be happy to do a session with you. Do you want my my website address? Sorry, Jeremy.
No, that's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So you were saying like sometimes it's difficult to like talk to certain people or be around certain people or something like that. And I don't know. I've been using this trick for a while. I used to deal cards in a casino, and people get pretty upset when they're losing money. And
True.
So the way that I've started dealing with people is like just being thankful that I'm not that person. I know that sounds like kind of screwy in a way, but like if you're just like thankful you're not in that situation, then you can kind of be grateful in a weird way, and it just sort of like helps the vibe like be better. Like, does that make any sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all have our own coping mechanisms in dealing with difficult people, and there are major courses being taught on that. And it's a skill, and well, it might be beyond that. It might be more like an art form for some people. But we all have to recognize there are different ways to deal with conflict, to deflect it, to find the right language or the right way to deliver certain messages, and really be able to understand the other person. And that takes time. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes patience. It's not the type of thing we can flip a switch and just do it with everyone. Some people are way more complex than we think when we first meet them. And we have to recognize that and really take the time to get to know them and understand them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. Instead of just passing judgment right away, just like accept them, for who they are, like accept them, like genuinely be like, I accept you. Like, I'm grateful that I'm not in your situation right now. And then like kind of just bless them in your head.
Carla, you're echoing. Were you trying to say something? I don't know what happened. Oh, Carla, I think had to go. So I think that's what she was trying to tell us. I'm going to interpret that. I hope that's correct. I know she said she could only stay for a while. So thanks for joining us, Carla. I appreciate your contribution and collaboration on trying to spread the joy of happiness and laughter throughout the world. We appreciate that. It's much needed, obviously. So, so Jacob, what do you what do you see happening with your life? What do you think your mission or purpose in life is? Are you still trying to determine that?
If I worry about that right now, I feel like it would be something that might kind of like drag me down, because I have some pretty big goals and big visions.
Mm-hmm.
And, right now I am in that spot where it's like, oh, well, you need to go, just make money, so I got to go to Starbucks and, brew up some coffee and just make some money during the holidays. But you know, I have some pretty big visions, some pretty big goals, and I've been a part of some projects that are really cool. And I mean, it's definitely possible. I know it's coming. Like all the good stuff's coming. But
Yep.
yeah. What are some of the things you're working on right now?
Well, I'm writing a book called The Positivity Patrol that will contain steps that people can take to improve their lives with positivity. I have a positivity course that I've written, and I'm revising currently. There'll be a free positivity course at the beginning, and then an 8-week advanced course for people that want to, or 8-part advanced course in positivity, dealing with important core values and how to really help people get unstuck. I think a lot of times we find we hit a wall or an obstacle or just feel overwhelmed by chaos and we can't seem to find our way out of it. Sometimes we feel like we're in quicksand and we're reaching for that branch or that something to pull us out of there. And we just can't seem to find the person or the thing, the idea that will allow us to, to rise from the quicksand and to move on back onto our path. So that's what I'm working on. Also, just, like I said, trying to find people worldwide interested in positivity and spreading peace and goodwill on all 7 continents. And that's challenging because, some continents are easy to contact and others are a little more difficult with time differences and such. So,
well, I think even pessimistic people would say they want to be positive.
True.
Like, even if you ask somebody that is just like the most negative poo-pooey person in the world,
right.
Like, what do you think about positivity? They'd be like, yeah, is it positivity good or bad? They would say it's good,
Mm-hmm.
So but would they incorporate it? Would they become that? Who knows? So
yeah.
What is part of what you're teaching, like the steps to incorporate that into your personality?
Yeah, really to try to make it, to internalize the practice, to embed it within your personality, and to really to make it bulletproof. So it's going to be, something that's going to stick and not something on the exterior that's just going to slide away next week when something bad happens. But trying to make it a part of us and trying to show other people how to use it and, tactically how to make sure that if something bad happens, that we're pressing an internal pause button and not overreacting or saying the wrong thing, saying something we're going to regret, really trying to refocus on the good things that are happening, on the possibilities instead of the obstacles, the troubles, the challenges. And there's a great quote from Great Expectations that I want to read into the recording here. And I put it up at the top, but there have been so many comments, I can't see it anymore. So I'm going to have to read it in here. But I think it applies to what we're talking about here. Here's the quote, and this is from Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Suffering has been stronger than all other teaching and has taught me to understand what your heart used to be. I have been bent and broken, but I hope into a better shape. And I think, a lot of times when we encounter these obstacles, we think that it's over, that our life can't possibly continue in a good way. And we feel like we've hit the end of the road or a dead end. And I think we need to recognize that really we encounter those obstacles, those sufferings, those challenges. I mean, that's preparing us for the most glorious adventures, which I believe are still ahead of us. I guess people debate that, whether our best times in life are behind us or not. But I firmly believe that, as we learn more and listen to people and become more self-aware and aware of how we can help others, I think we've recognized that our future is the best to come. It's still out there, but we have to look for it and reach for it and try to find enough sources of light to illuminate that path as we go through life.
I mean, it's all about attitude and mindset, right? I mean,
it is. It is to me. I without having the right attitude, mindset, some would say polarity, without having that all in alignment and having it directed, going the right direction. We tend to be lost, aimless, just kind of wandering, and not all wandering is bad, but being lost is not a fun thing to have happen. But sometimes being lost is the very thing we need to find our path to to fulfill our primary mission in life. And sometimes we don't find that path without temporarily being lost or feeling like we're lost. But we can't all have 20/20 vision every day. That degree of acuity or clarity, it's not always possible if you're talking about the difficult issues or paths in life.
Yeah. And I just think it's funny, like how some people can get so upset over like somebody's Facebook post or somebody's like text. I see it at work, and it's like, seriously? Like, I mean, it's like, my mom died and I was almost homeless, and I had drove across the country and didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And you're worried about somebody's text to you, like, and you're getting more upset than I was, it's just ridiculous, So, I mean, it's definitely like, mindset and, attitude, I think really alters the way that you show up. And, I'm curious to learn more about what, you're talking about. And I don't know, I'm kind of excited about, you said you're writing a book, so I'm curious to see it.
Yeah, I'm in chapter 3 right now. It's mapped out as a 10-chapter book, so I'm trying to kind of write it chapter by chapter and make sure that it's, I want it to be of the highest quality, and make sure that I've reflected on everything. And there's one chapter in there that's going to be very challenging. I'm working on a grand unified theory of positivity. As someone who loves physics and the grand unified theory of physics and cosmology, I've wondered, can that be achieved with positivity or not? And if so, how? And what would it contain? And what would it not necessarily need to contain? And that's, I guess that partly I put that in there for an intellectual challenge, but partly I think it's possible to come up with such a thing. And I think if I can find that and flesh it out a little bit, I think it could help a lot of people. There's just so many people struggling with stress, anxiety, mental illness, other problems. These people are not getting the help they need, and they can't be fully served by the medical system. Doesn't have enough resources or doctors. My brother's a doctor. I have a sister who's a nurse. I've become acutely aware of the limitations of the medical system to help these people, and just having so many friends and suffering with these type of problems, and we do all these things to try to help them, and sometimes it seems like it helps, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's a matter of figuring out how can I customize my help to help this person individually, to a maximal extent, to get them to really optimize their true potential, to visualize their dreams, and then to go actualize them, to actually be bold and courageous enough to dream big, and then just to go out and do it. There are
all these people that are suffering. Like, why do you feel like it's your responsibility to like go out and like unsuffer them, like raise them up? I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a heavy burden.
It probably is, but I think they've just been lining up at my door. They've been, and I feel like I'm getting this message that, look, this is not a random occurrence. These people need your help, and you have the ability and capacity to help them. Maybe I need to dig deeper internally to be able to do that. But I firmly believe that we each have a deep well or reservoir within ourselves that we haven't fully tapped or found we really haven't fully explored. But I think once we do, we find this magnificent abundance. And if we find that and capture it and live that out on a daily basis, it changes everything. Then you realize how much ability you have to help people. You start, you get messages from people, oh, you helped me so much. And you just think, wow, I didn't even really feel like I did that much. I just said these couple things and have that kind of impact. And then, just start scratching my head and thinking, well, I could do this on a bigger level, but I'd have to change some things, realign some things to really make that possible.
Hey, Jeremy.
Yes.
I have to go in a second, but
sure.
Maybe you want to have Art pop on. He's fun to talk to.
Sure.
And,
I was talking to Art earlier in a different blab.
I don't know if he wants to pop on.
Yeah, feel free to jump in, or Art, or anyone else. Mary Beth, I see you're still here. But yeah, Jacob, I appreciate you hopping in. It's good to meet you, and happy to talk to you about this. So keep up the good work.
Okay. Yeah. I got to go sling some coffee. So
okay.
Thank you.
Coffee's important too.
Did Jacob say he has to go sling some coffee?
I think he did. I didn't know if coffee should be slung or brewed, or I thought it was mainly to be consumed. I don't know.
Well, I like the theme. Magnify your greatness, expectations, positivity patrol. That is kind of where I left you this morning on the blab Cherie was on.
Right. Yeah. I was talking earlier. I thought about the Dickens novel, Great Expectations. And then I tried to make it more positive with Greater Expectations. And then I thought that wasn't positive enough. So I added Greatest Expectations. And then I decided to magnify that. And, partly I did that because I know some people are going to react to that and they're going to say that's crazy. That's off the charts positive, but isn't that what it takes to get through life? Don't you have to do that sometimes? You have to be the optimist high. Sometimes.
You've got to aim high. If you don't aim high, you might not reach your target. And
right.
I think, you could have gone minimalist as well.
True.
By just saying positivity patrol. I would have responded to that.
Yeah.
Because
positivity patrol. That's the hashtag I use for what I'm doing with trying to spread positivity around the world in whatever way I can. So for those of you that don't know that,
here's a question: What do you have to realign in your world? Is it just that you've got too many things on your plate right now to do the work that it sounds like you're passionate about doing, or is it?
Well, it's a matter of I'm doing coaching. I'm a running coach. I'm doing health coach certification right now. So I have a couple other strands of work that I'm doing. But I think the primary work that I want to do is, as a life coach and as a transformational life coach, trying to help people reawaken to their purpose, their mission, their vision, and really trying to, sketch out what that looks like, to paint the picture, to have the courage to paint the whole picture, and then to go try to actualize that, try to find ways to make that happen.
To me, I would say, I spend some of my time as a brand strategist, and it sounds like when you're already doing the work. Right. And being a running coach is not different than being a wellness coach, which is all about being a life coach. Because if the people that are running for a PR, a personal best, that's a life goal. That's life coaching. If they're running to lose weight or be well or to impress their significant other, those are life goals. It's all life coaching. So it's like you're already life coaching. It's a 3-part harmony, and that you're singing those songs and you're probably harmonizing them nicely. So you don't need to clear the deck to do what you want to do better. You just need to do more of it.
Right. And I think that's what I recognize, Art. I had all these people contacting me with situational challenges and chaos, and I kept having to dig them out, or felt like I was supposed to, or just doing it. And I've been an attorney for 22 years, but I determined that's not, I'm just not someone that's supposed to be in the courtroom anymore. It's just not me. It's my past. But it's given me the ability to have, to have the counseling skills to help people with whatever situations they're dealing with, and to better navigate through life's pitfalls, potholes, quicksand pits, whatever you want to call them.
Quicksand pits. That's a gnarly graphic if I've ever heard one.
Well, I try to be visual. Some people are visual learners, so I'm trying to cater to those folks a little bit.
Yeah, no, I think that it's you certainly have you've magnified you've elevated the running coaching into a platform to be life coaching.
Right.
It seems like a natural progression to just keep moving up the ladder.
True.
Because those that want to get a PR and that's all they want, okay, I've got a program for that.
Sure.
Those that want to just get more guidance and to magnify their greatness, you can help them liberate that. So I want to hear more about that, because I've seen you on a couple of blabs, and I any friend of Cherie Valentine has to have some gravitas in the subject. So yeah. I met Cherie on Skywire on Google Plus. Marilyn Shannon hosts weekly Skywire discussions, and a lot of those were very deep. And I found that my listening ability was just intensified, and suddenly, I don't know how to describe it. Sometimes these things that seem that they're on a basic level, sometimes just everything kind of reaches a metaphysical level and it makes sense. And so trying to connect with people on that level, though, is challenging, because some people just simply don't want to communicate at that level, or deal with that level very much, or they'll roll their eyes at it. And, so well, yeah, but I think it goes to the 7 billion people on the planet, and not everybody is evolved or open to that level to join you at that place. They're not reaching up to and clawing away at the hillside to get up to that level. But of the 7 billion people on the planet, there are enough to make a thriving business. Let me say it differently. There are enough people wanting to find the leadership to achieve that kind of connection,
right?
To make meaning in their lives, and take somebody like you to lead them to that outcome, and that's a fantastic opportunity. It
is.
So when do you start?
Well, I've already started. So
okay.
It's and I wanted to go back to there was, I don't know, have you read Great Expectations by Dickens? Have you,
oh my gosh, not in forever. Yeah.
Okay, I've read parts of it, but I can't remember if I've read the whole thing. But there is a quote from this that I want to read into the recording. And I apologize to our viewers. I put this at the top of the comments. And so if you scroll all the way to the top, you'll be able to find this. But I don't think I could do that during the recording. But I think this relates to what we're talking about right now, because there are just chains of events that all go back to that very first link. And what happens to that first link changes the whole path. So, but this is the quote. This is the other Great Expectations quote I wanted to read into the recording so people are aware of it. Here's the quote. "That was a memorable day to me, for it made great changes in me. But it is the same with any life. Imagine one selected day struck out of it, and think how different its course would have been. Pause, you who read this, and think for a moment the long chain of iron or gold, of thorn or flowers that would never have bound you, but for the formation of the first link on one memorable day." That's, oh, you found it. Yeah, that's, I don't know. I think about, just over a year ago, I lost my job, and I wasn't expecting it. And it caused all kinds of chaos and upheaval. But I wouldn't be where I am today if that hadn't happened. So it took me a while to accept that and move past it. But I realized that happened for a reason. That happened because my mission there was complete, and I was called to do something else, something I believe is bigger, more global, and trying to find people that need my help. I had enough people contacting me for all kind of help with life skills type of issues. And I decided, well, I have a lot of experience with that, and these people are seeking me out anyway. I need to find ways to help them, help deliver it to them, whether it's in person, virtually, through the internet, through the Positivity Patrol book that I'm writing, to find ways to deliver that to them and, help them improve their lives. I've seen too many people falling on the road, and I don't want to see anybody else fall that I can help keep on that road and keep on their path.
I would say then, Jeremy, it's time to change your Blab profile to represent who you are and not not the runner and the JD. All of those things are applicable, but this Blab theme says more about who you are and who you want to serve than your Blab profile does. And
I agree. Yeah. That's just simply my Twitter profile. I haven't, I need to update that one too, but you're right.
I mean, it's because if there's people out there and people respond to the message and they respond to you because you're you, and then they go to your profile and say, well, I hear what he says, but I see what he presents. You need to get alignment.
True.
And get in harmony with and allow us to be in harmony, so we get validation that you're presenting to us who you are, because that's who you are.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for suggesting that. I've been meaning to do it, and I've been trying to.
Well, what are you waiting for, man?
I want to use the correct words, and some people are seeking me out solely as a running coach, and that's all they want. But you made a very good point that is a.
But I can, as a running coach, I can magnify my greatness as a runner. Magnify your greatest expectations still helps me as a runner.
True.
Because I'm achieving, if my PR to run a mile is 10 minutes and I want to get to 9:45, right? You can help me get there. If my PR is 5 minutes to run a mile and I want to get to 4.5, you can, and that's magnifying my greatness and meeting my expectations. So the theme isn't different. Read what Fred said in the stream.
Craft your vision or your center of gravity into your profile. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Fred. Yes. It's a journey. When changes happen, it's hard to describe those within the very limited space that we have. But I agree. I need to change the Twitter profile language too.
But you know what it is, and I lived in that space for years, and I leaned on the old expression, the cobbler whose children have no shoes, which suggests I make great shoes. I just don't make them for myself or my family. Right. I can make a great pair of shoes for you, and you can see my shoes worn throughout the land, but I don't particularly care to make them for myself. I would use that phrase. And when somebody said, well, I looked at your website, and I said, well, don't worry about it. I look at the websites that I built, not my website. I don't have time to work on my website. But the reality is, it's important for us to work from the inside out, right?
That exactly. And I believe that more than 90% of our problems, they get solved up here. They don't get solved somewhere else. They get solved internally upstairs in our mind, in our brain. And it takes courage and boldness to go there. But I firmly believe that will resolve the majority of our problems. And maybe some of them are unsolvable. I don't deny that. I don't want to give the impression that every problem that can be solved. But I think if we collaborate with others, I think a lot of our problems can be solved in ways of just shifting our perspective, looking at things differently. Being a critical thinker, but not being so self-critical or critical of others that we're destroying relationships. And I see that happening all around the world. People are they're either we're too destructive to ourselves, and then we're too destructive towards others as well. And why do we have to be Why do we have to be so self-destructive? Why do we have to be so destructive of others? Why can't we construct things? We can build things. We don't have to destroy anymore. I mean, that's the state of nature in a negative philosophical sense, not the being out in nature, but
yeah. Walter took from popular music and said the same thing you said in 4 words. Yeah. Don't worry, be happy.
Right. I keep running into that phrase. It's even in my health coach certification on one of the pages at the very top. It's a headline. Don't worry, be happy, with no credit to Bobby McFerrin, which they probably should have given a little bit of credit to, because it's probably a copyrighted title. Well, it is a copyrighted song. So.
That's right. Watch out, Walter. The copywriters are going to come get you for putting that in the stream. But it's a good ad. Don't worry, be happy. That could be the anthem for us all, right?
That's true. And I think we all have a great deal of creativity, and we're not using it. We're not using it at our full capacity. And I've become aware of this myself. And once I started writing and just realizing how many words are coming out, I just said, wow, I have to put this in a book. I have to get this book out. I have to fast track this positivity book, get it out, publish it as quickly as I can, while still ensuring it's of the highest quality to help people. And if I fail to do that, I'm failing in my mission. I've got to be accountable for that.
Yeah. It's I think I'm writing a book as well and trying to hit the target for April. And today I've got a mind map on my wall here, a bunch of Post-it notes kind of pointing me I've got mind maps on my computer, which I only see when I go to my mind map software on my computer. I put them on my wall to stay present and to call myself to action on a consistent and regular basis. Today is the day where I take what I've now ordered down and begin executing. So it's is that Walter?
Yes.
Hi, Walter. How are you?
And by the way, that pizza place is still in business, so don't worry. Be happy.
I'm still waiting for my slice of pizzas from Under the Trestle in Queens in Forest Hills, and Walter keeps talking about it, but he won't send it to me. I don't understand.
You haven't given me your address.
You
haven't told me you really want it.
I'm gonna.
I have to figure out how to send it to you, so I'm not.
I want the white pizza with the ricotta cheese.
I need an address.
I missed something here. I'm really. This must be a real inside joke.
I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and I lived in Queens 3 years ago for a few years, and I lived in Forest Hills, not far from where Walter lives, and where this greatest pizza. New York is famous for pizza.
Right.
The pizza at this place is the absolute best.
Well, that's your taste, you see. I had pizza from Portofino the other night. Oh, you got to ask for extra sauce. I like extra sauce. So
pizza, the stealth pizza. That's right, Fred.
Perfect. Oh.
If we keep talking about pizza, Jeremy's going to have to change the theme. We need to toss the ball back to Jeremy and talk about positivity.
Yeah. Well, his greatest expectation is getting that pizza again without having to come to Forest Hills.
We all have our own interpretation of what our greatest expectation is, but we have to recognize that it may just be a greater expectation, and there could be one higher than that. So, I mean, there could be an Uber pizza on top of all the other pizzas.
Oh, Jeremy, that's like the golden fleece kind of vision.
I don't quite understand that, but that's me.
Well, we're making everyone hungry anyway, at least.
Yeah. It's definitely lunchtime for me. I wanted to hop on and keep Jeremy company because he did me the favor of doing that when Cherie Valentine and I were on a blab this morning. So,
well, now he's not alone. You see, now I'm here.
Well, now you're here, Walter. Walter, you are here. And Walter, what would be nice if that you had a little window that you could show the art that you're creating while you're talking to us, that multitasking at a high level?
Yes. I haven't figured out exactly how to do that yet. I think I'd have to have a different account unless there was some way of putting it in the window.
Right. Yeah.
Send me the Hey, Walter, send me the pizza, and I'll be happy to tell you all about how to
send me
make
the
it.
address first. You see, once I have the address, then I'm obligated. But you haven't sent me that address.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. Jeremy, thank you so much for letting me
Thanks,
take a
Art.
seat.
Yeah,
Always good
thanks.
talking to you.
Good talking
Walter,
to you.
the address is in the mail.
All right, good.
Okay, so
that's
Walter,
funny.
I mean, there's the two-camera approach that the cooks or chefs use. You know, having two cameras, and I guess showing the art on the other one. But I don't know. I don't know if you have it in a digital format. I don't know if that would work or not. Would it?
Right. There's a way of showing the screen as I'm working on, but I don't know if I want to do that. See,
Okay.
that's a different issue. So that was his suggestion, but it's very simple for people to go look at the art, whatever it is, and you know. But so expectations, I am really wanted to know exactly what you mean by that and what it is that you're having an issue with, maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
or
sure.
What is the point? Because just now when you were talking about something, and that when I came in, and you wanted to, you know, both of you writing a book or whatever it is, the slower you go, this is my philosophy, the slower you go, the faster you get to where you want to be. Because if you're enjoying where you are, you don't have to go anywhere. And the time thing about when it happens will be eradicated.
Yeah, that's you know, a lot of Walter, you disappeared. I don't know if you're having video problems on your end, but I did hear what you said. A lot of times we get caught up with. Here, I'm going to let you back in. We had this trouble with someone else today. They popped out and then.
Yeah, I just brushed my hand over the mouse and maybe the air does it. I don't know.
Okay.
So if you become focused, if that's the word, or you've just slowed down, and what I said was the slower you go, the faster you get to where you want to be.
True.
Because if you're enjoying where you are, you don't have to go anywhere. If you get and keep that in your mind, and you are right where you are, and slow down. And take a deep breath. There's nothing that you have to do beyond what it is the next step. Yeah. And once you take the next step, where to go from there will be revealed to you. Right. Okay. And so what I was saying when I got whisked out, you know, but was that everything else will be eradicated. All your thinking will be disappeared because you'll be focused in now. And that issue won't be there anymore.
Right.
It doesn't matter when you do it. Any obligation that you said to publish it by this time or that time or whatever, it's meaningless. It's worthless to you if it destroys your ability to really be present now.
Well, what if we get signs that we have limited time?
Well, you're not dying, are you?
No. But
okay.
what if?
I'm
being very serious. Are they or am I misinterpreting them? I don't know. I mean, I think we have to live like every day is our last. So I agree with the part about slowing down, though.
If you do that,
I'm sort of a hurried individual. I like to try to do things quickly, but effectively. But there does have to be some type of.
You asked me what if, okay? Yeah. You asked me what if, okay? First of all, I have 320,000 images up on my art site. I have 200,000 waiting on the computer, and I create new ones every day. What if I never get to put the rest of them up? I can't, you know, I mean, I worked when they lost 100,000 from my art site.
Oh, gosh.
And I felt that because there was only 75,000 left, I felt very pressured, and I did work day and night to put those up because I felt that, you know, I had a responsibility at least to show people to that point that was there already, right, that they had already seen, to try and get them back up.
Yep.
And that was a daunting task because I had to take a deep breath and say, do I have the energy to even do that, let alone get beyond that?
Right.
But I did it. You know, and I was there, I was present, this is what I was doing. And it was more difficult than putting up the the stuff originally or now putting it up, because I had to match up. They were there in specific galleries. I had to try and match up and find it in which computer
True.
to do that individually. Now I can do 6 or 4 at a time, and it's not that difficult.
Yeah. How do you know if you're not? How do you know that you're slowing down to the right pace? Do you know what I mean? That you're not, because I think there's a danger, and I'm sure you recognize this. I think we can all slow down so much that we're inert. And I don't think we're supposed to slow down. I think we have to slow down enough to be mindfully present.
Okay, please take a
maybe
deep
not
breath.
more than that.
Please take a deep breath. Really. Okay. Now, when you take a deep breath and you're conscious of your breathing, that's enough. That's enough slowing down. You can make the next step, or, you've slowed down enough. So the consciousness of your breathing is something you want to focus on as you slow down.
Sure.
And that's it. I mean, that's good enough. As long as you know, I mean, I've been out in the streets of Manhattan, and I've been there giving out my cards. And what happens is, in order to try and give everyone a card, that comes by, I can get like this, because there's thousands of people passing by every few minutes in New York, in Manhattan. And if I go too fast and try to get everyone that's trying to sneak by, I can stop breathing, because there's no time to breathe. I'm just trying to get them.
Yep.
And I know now, I've had situations, I've been in that situations where I am trying so hard to do that.
Sure.
And that's no good for me. So I know how to breathe. And then I've slowed down enough, and then, let them come and let them pick it out from my hand even more. And sometimes, one lady the other day, I'll never forget this. She came by, she had 2 bagfuls or whatever it is. And when I tried to give it to her, I'm in a rush. Do you know that I didn't say anything to her? And she came back and she apologized because she was thinking about something. And she didn't mean to be so rude to me that I was trying to give her something. And she came back and asked me for it and explained where her mind was, and that she's going to look at what I gave her, which was my art site.
Yeah, I remember hearing you talking about slowing down at a different blab, and I don't remember which one it was, but that got my attention, because that's been something I've been trying to focus on, and being more mindfully present in the moment. But I think, with expectations, I'm talking about directional goals, figuring out what our mission in life is, what our vision is, what our legacy will be when we're gone.
Watch. Imagine having all these goals, meeting the goals, and not living in the meantime. Your first primary goal is to enjoy life on the way. Oh, excuse me.
No, that's right. Yeah, I think, let's see, one thing that I think is helpful in, finding our expectation is our expectations, our greatest expectations, is to visualize it, to write a story about it, to write a story about what we want to achieve in the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I mean, we all have different lifespans and life expectancies, but I think we've got to have an understanding of that, because we have to figure out how much we can fit into each of those time periods, and I think we need to plan that out. So,
okay. So that was just I won something. Every day they call the same lady.
Sure.
Congratulations, and she says it so nicely. I'll listen, and then I say thank you.
Yeah, I understand. We get the same calls, actually, Walter.
Oh well, we're both on the list.
Yeah.
But on the call list. But so what I was trying to say is, how can you enjoy life if you're concerned about what's going to happen afterwards? Like, it's like getting bills. You get all these bills, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes things are down to in the past, they've been down to the bottom of the barrel. Like, you don't know if you're going to have enough money
to
pay it when it's due. But between now and the time that it's due, or close to the time that you're going to have to send it, there's time. And if you worry about it before then, you're not giving yourself any chance to live without worry. And
That's
you know that worry, and part of what you're saying is a worry thing. You know that worry never helps anything.
true.
It never helps you. It doesn't do any good for whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it distracts you from enjoying life that way as well.
True. Yeah, the worry is not helpful, and it does cause us to hurry through life too. If we're more worried, we're become a little more impulsive, and I don't know, sometimes indecisive, sometimes more impulsive than indecisive.
Right.
But yeah.
So back to the slower you go, and it's really a meaningful saying. It's not just a slogan. I really feel this, and if you can feel it, then you'll understand it. The slower you go, the faster you get to where you want to be. Because if you're enjoying right here, if you and I are enjoying this conversation, we don't have to be anywhere else. I know later on in the night when my wife wants to get up and we're going to go to Greenwich Village, I drive her and she's going to study ballet. That's the whole thing. All the traffic on the way and getting through the tunnel and whatever. I can go anxious about it, but you know, when I get there, I'll get there.
Right.
It's not going to help me to think about it too much beyond just telling you right now. I have something else later to do, just like you have something later to do.
Yep.
But we're having a conversation now, you know, and even a lot of the blabs people have, it's like, oh, I got to do this. And they're going to report to me what they're going to have in a half hour or 2 hours from now. You know, that's why they have to get up. You have to go now. All right. You want to go? Go. I don't need to hear the whole report.
Sure.
I mean, unless you feel like you're reporting to me, I'm the head of the corporation. You want to report to me what your duties are. So yeah, I don't need it. It's okay.
Right. Well, we all have our own. We all want others to know what we're doing, and I think it's fascinating to see what other people are doing. You know, on Blab, on their website, with their creative work, and I'm also a musician and I'm a composer.
What do you play?
I play piano. So I'm writing some, I guess I would call it Asian Celtic type of music, which is an unusual blend. But
Asian from where? I mean, for me, I'm Armenian, so Middle Eastern is Asian. For me, it's Asia Minor. Okay.
Our daughter, we adopted our daughter from China, so I would describe it. You know, it sounds like kind of a Chinese melody to me, and it's just something that popped into my head, and I don't know where it came from, but I want to finish
on your feelings
composing
towards her and where she came from.
Well,
obviously,
I think it could be, but words started popping in my head, Walter, about words that go with this song. So I started writing the words down, and I have to finish this song. I have to finish composing it, writing it, publish it, record it. I just feel like I have to finish it. Until then, it's my unfinished symphony, which isn't really symphonic. But
now, is that interfering with the book, or is the book interfering with that?
No, it's not interfering with the book, but it's something that part of it is sketched out, part of it's not, part of it just still kind of, but this melody keeps repeating in my brain. Okay. And it's the most persistent melody that I'm hearing, which tells me that this is a pretty powerful message, that this came from somewhere else, and I need to finish the melody, work on the harmony, and get it wrapped up.
Do you have it in any form recorded or written down that you're not going to lose it?
No, I have like
I was a musician too. I studied the violin since I was 7 years old, and I played Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall, and then I played with the Queen Symphony while I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
But and then I played rock music with different groups, and I recorded when I was 17 years old or something. I was in Billboard magazine then. But as long I remember having melodies, and then they didn't have the phone that you could record a memo or something like that. I had to whistle it over and over again to try and remember it till I get back to see with my friends or something like that. We can try and put it down in the music.
Sure.
Whatever. But now it's a lot easier. So as long as you got it down somewhere,
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and
the
then you make
basic.
a note to yourself to listen to it later on.
True.
If for some reason or other it hasn't surfaced in your mind, then you're okay.
Yeah.
If something new about it comes, then make sure you record that as well. So that's development. And if you go away from it, and this is I think with anything, especially art, also, or music as well, that if you go away from it, and then you'll see how it develops, because you give yourself a chance to add something to it.
And it always comes back to us when we go away from it too, doesn't it, Walter? The further you move away from music or your artistic, creative self, the harder that hits you on the way back. I think that's been my experience. I don't know why, but yeah, I have written down the 8 to 16 measures of the melody, and it's kind of a theme of variations. And I've written down some of the words that go with it, and I don't know where all this is coming from, but I do feel like I need to finish it. So, but the book comes first.
The book comes first.
The book comes first.
Do you write a little bit every day? Do you,
I'd say not every day, maybe every week.
Can I suggest something?
Sure.
Okay. I'm photographing and doing art since 1958. It's 58 years. I know different periods that I functioned like you are talking about now. Okay. One of the things that was a hindrance was I'm allergic to paints and those kind of things. So when I could, I focused on film and photographing, or drawing with colored pencil, because I'm not allergic to that. But that's
sure.
For me, it was very tedious, because right away I'd be down to the last part of the little pencil, and it was like biting into my hand, and then I had to go and buy more pencils. So that all the colors of that was expensive too. But now that I own the oil well, in a sense that I don't have to get new pencils, they don't run out. I'm using Photoshop to create my images, and it's unlimited. So I feel like I own the oil well now, and now the flow has really changed. So I can work on this art every single day and night. And when I go away, like tonight, I'll be handing out my cards in Greenwich Village. When I come back, I'll be working on my art right away again, because that's what I want to do, unless there's some other thing like eating or whatever gets in the way. So if you make up, like, is there anything that's hindering you from doing it every day? Like, you write with pencil and paper, you run out of paper?
I'm not running out of paper. No,
I'm serious. I'm serious.
I understand what you're saying, but as a lawyer, I have plenty of legal pads.
No, are you writing with paper, or are you using it on a computer?
Well, I'm using Evernote. What's happening, Walter, is these creative explosions occur, and then I have to record them as quickly as I can. So I'll go to Evernote. Is just an app that you can have on your computer, or iPad, your phone, but you can just make the type of memo or notes that we were talking about, and then I'll dump that into a chapter later, cut and paste. Right. And some of that material will end up being too raw. I have to, revise it, get it, closer to what a published book would look like. Some of them are just raw thoughts that are kind of in a, fragmented sense, that not necessarily in the right order, and kind of whatever comes to my head. Part of my problem is some of those thoughts come when I'm running, and so when I'm running, I've got to stop. Right down in my phone. Yeah, I can do the voice memo too. I haven't. I have that capability, but I haven't used it much. But you're right.
That's the whole point. My point was when I told you about the painting and even the colored pencil, which avoided the part that I was allergic to. But there was a technical thing that I would run out, and I would use a pencil down to there. Like that's big. From here to there would be the pencil, and it would be making a hole in my hand because I wanted to come out strong, and there was no internet or a computer back then, and so if you have the ability to find a technology or a tool that allow you to do whenever that thing comes to you.
Yes.
I have an iPad that has you can draw on it too. I've sold pictures from the iPad thing, just like scribbled drawings or whatever, and it works.
Cool.
So if you can if you can find the tool that'll make it more accessible for you to work when you're getting your inspiration or your answers, that's what you need.
Right.
To improve the flow.
Right. And that's the key thing, to find the flow and to go with it and not be rushing the tempo of it, to find the optimal tempo. And as a musician, you're always looking for the right tempo for whatever you're playing or whatever you're composing. I mean, you don't want it to be too fast. You don't want it to be too slow. You don't want it to be too much bravado. I mean, it has to be just right.
I would suggest not to think about it too much, because even the stuff that Beethoven and Mozart and all these people wrote, when someone gets to play it, they're always fooling around with the tempo and
True.
You know, if this world, you know, I remember when we were in the orchestra and this conductor decides we don't want to play a little faster, you know, or we're going to play it even slower, you know. So the, you know, it gets messed around then too. So as long as you get it down,
true,
you know, that other stuff will come. And what's good about Blab is I'm usually alone. I would be listening to like outer space music or something, ambient music. And if you don't mind that I'm pounding on the thing or doing a motion to create art while I'm talking to you, then I'm not so alone.
Oh yeah, of course not. I mean, I think
some people make the comment that, you know, I see you working while we're talking.
Oh, well, you know, as a recovering multitasker who hasn't fully recovered, I fully understand. You know, I think as long as we're not doing like 4 or 5 things at once, I think we're doing pretty well. Maybe more than 2 is not a good idea.
Right. So what is it that you would like to accomplish in this discussion?
Well, I'm trying to make the all of us to find what our great expectations are, to make them greater, to increase them further, to the point that they're the greatest expectations that we can imagine, and then to magnify them, and then spread them to all 7 continents, to make them global. I mean,
there's a few things there. That's not just one thing.
It's probably 5 or 6 different things.
Right. So let's talk about one. Let's say you've created something, whether it's the greatest thing or not. Every step along the way that you create, every music that you create or every book that you create, it's a stage, a step. And the more you do it, that's why I'm doing more and more art. The more you do it, the more skilled you get at it, the more you're able to express these things that come through you.
Right.
Right? So that's the first thing. If you have even a little chapter or maybe a blog post worth, put it down, put it out there, and let people see it. You know, let them comment or feel it. And then you will get a different feeling when you reread it that it's on the internet.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing about the blog. That's another tool that allows you to let it through, the flow come through you.
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that, because I did when I wrote the first chapter of this book, I entered it in a transformational author contest. And of course, there was fierce competition among more than 200 authors worldwide. And, you know, I didn't win a prize. And so I was disappointed. And then I realized, well, maybe I have to do this the hard way and self-publish it. But a lot of people have said that's the better way to go than to lose control of your creative work if you're dealing directly with a publishing company.
Okay.
So,
well, there's a lot of different angles to that, but publishing it is just merely putting it in the blog now.
True.
In real essence, put it up on the blog. So the more you publish, the more you'll see and people responding to it.
The difficulty is, though, if it's of high enough quality, we worry about people stealing our work. And I'm sure you're concerned about that too. I mean, if you have something really good, you don't want somebody to steal your idea before it's copyrighted.
No, well, automatically when you put it up, you know, you put the sign is copyrighted. That's
sure.
You're a lawyer. You should know that. Get in touch with the copyright law. Especially, I take a picture in the camera. It's copyrighted before I take it out of the camera and put it up.
Yep.
That's, unless I need help from you, you know, I'm right. Okay. So the next thing is that you want to get it out into the world. Okay. I'm gonna give you a tool. Okay. You can sign up for free, and you can publish it on there. Okay. Because if you really want to get it out to the world, and for anyone who reads English, right? There's 85 different social media sites around the world besides Facebook. Do you have a Facebook? Let's back up then. Do you have a Facebook fan page?
Yes. Well, not for the book yet.
I have hundreds of them. I have hundreds of them. Okay. So create one specifically for your writing or your books or whatever. Each book, create a new one. Okay. Okay. So I'm looking for this thing to give you. You know, that
part of the difficulty I have, Walter, is some people have already used the Positivity Patrol name. It's in use on Facebook by rock and roll music bands or whatever. Thought, well, that's a great name for a rock and roll band, which is fascinating, but they're not really using their page. They have it, but they're not really.
Have you contacted them?
No, not yet.
Why not? You say, listen, I'm a writer. Maybe they can collaborate together.
Yeah.
Imagine them putting music and that music getting famous, and then you become famous because you're collaborating with them.
But I'm writing my own music.
Well, you can have them perform it if you want. Or the greatest thing is, did you ever see some of the videos with B.B. King and Eric Clapton?
Yes.
There's B.B. King, his song, "The Thrill Is Gone," right? Mm-hmm. And how many times he's performing with other artists, or when they all get together and they're all doing the same music, B.B. King's song, and they all get together and they're all doing licks to it, that's the most beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. So you want to collaborate with other people. All right, have your basic song, but then bring other people in to perform it with you.
True.
I mean, it's so sad that B.B. King's gone now, but those are the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Is when he was performing with Eric Clapton, this person, that person, and they did there was one particular video where everyone was there. I couldn't believe it, and it's like black people and white people and Asian people and where is all this here hatred comes between this group and that group when we can get to the music and all perform and have wonderful, beautiful sounds together?
Yeah, that's a great insight. I think we do need to focus more on what unites us instead of what divides us, and that's partly why I feel so strongly about getting this message out about positivity and spreading it.
Okay, so here's a tool. Okay, God forgive me for sharing something with you if I'm doing something wrong. This is a tool. You sign up for free.
Okay.
Right away, you have an income. If you introduce this tool just the way that I did in this letter to you.
Okay.
I'm giving you a link. If you give your link that you get when you sign up, get a separate Gmail account so it doesn't interfere with anything. If you introduce it to people and someone signs up and increases or upgrades to a paying member, mm-hmm. you get 20% automatically.
Okay.
If you find that you can use the tool and you want to get to the 85 different sites around the world, you'll have to create an account for each one of those 85 sites. But once you link up this site to that, your posts, whether it's your music or a recording or whatever, will go out to 85 sites around the world.
Wow.
If you upgrade. You
Sure.
have to upgrade to get that. But that's what that tool is for.
Okay.
And there's other tools. When you're ready, you'll ask me. I'm going to give you my main website.
Okay.
You can connect with me on Facebook. You can email me. Anything you want, right? Anything you want, Jeremy, anything you want, you can communicate with me about it. I may not get to you right away. Sometimes I miss things.
Sure, I understand.
But I'll help you. What's the big deal? Don't rush. Take your time and enjoy yourself.
Thanks.
I want to see that smile on your face. That's the first time I've ever seen such a smile on your face. Every time I see you, too serious for me. You look like the Lord. What type of law did you do?
I did bankruptcy and criminal defense primarily. Very, very happy branches of law I'll grant you too, especially when things went well.
I'm going to tell you a story about me and lawyers, okay?
Okay.
Now, I give out my cards in the street. So one day I gave up my card to this lady who had gotten it before, which I didn't know about it. And she was on Park Avenue on 53rd Street, a good place for lawyers. But I didn't know. So she had just gotten a job with a company that was bought by Bingham Dana. At that time, it was Bingham Dana. I don't think Bingham exists anymore. They went to Bingham Dana, then went to Bingham, and now it's bought by someone else. But so she went upstairs and they asked her, this is her new job. She had just gotten it. They called her from Boston, where Bingham was headquartered, and they said, do you know a photographer that can photograph the whole place? All the different lawyers. She said, she looked at my car. Oh yeah, I do. Right. And then she called me up. I had to do a test run with one of the lawyers that was kind of like responsible for that kind of stuff. I did it and he was happy. And little be known to him that I had just gotten my first digital camera and it was all new to me. And I've been photographing for a long time before that, since 1958, but this was all brand new. So I had, it's kind of like iffy about Photoshop and stuff. So then I did a function or something like that. They got the pictures from that. And then she called me and said, we're going to photograph all the lawyers, 60 lawyers in 2 days.
Oh, my goodness.
So because it was a new thing and it was different than I had billed people before, before I billed them for the film and processing and an hourly rate, now I'm just billing them per picture. So I calculated the night before how much my hourly rate would be if it was really continuously shooting. So each lawyer walked in and they said, what's your specialty? And I got finance and litigation and corporate and all this stuff. So one guy walks in, and I didn't know that he was the guy that owned the company that was purchased.
Okay.
But I got the signals from some other people right away. And I said, well, what's your specialty? Because he still should have a specialty, whatever. He said, I'll work for anyone that pays my fee. All right, I got a different character. No one else gave me this thing. So then I said, this guy wants me to ask him what his fee is. What a great opportunity, because I just figured out what my fee was the night before. So I said, all right, what's your fee? He says $1,000 an hour, which sounds like a lot, right?
That is a lot. Compared to what I've charged people.
This is 2001, right before the World Trade Center fell.
Oh.
So I said, all right, let me do this. This is my fun because I'm like this. This is me, okay? I said, Mr. Marassi, and I had the camera in my hand. It was a little bit different, but it was camera. I said, your firm is paying me $35. Your firm, the company that bought you, is paying me $35 to take a picture at 1/60th of a second. You multiply by 60, you get my fee for 1 second. You multiply by 60 again, you get my fee for 1 minute. And you multiply by 60 again, you get my fee for 1 hour. I love mathematics. And I said, do you know how much that is? He said, no. I said, $7,560,000 an hour. You know what he said to me? He was a little Japanese guy.
You probably wanted to become a photographer.
Exactly. You think just like the lawyer.
Well, of course, I am one, but a recovering one. I want to clarify that for the record. I'm not still actively practicing.
The record is he's a recovering one.
Yeah, recovering lawyer. My friends came up with that, and I found that it fit.
Okay. So the next time I saw him in the street, he saw me and he gave me a bow. And, so I hadn't seen him for quite a number of years. And a couple of months ago, I saw him again. He was on Park Avenue walking. He had a walking stick this time. I guess he's got a little older. Unfortunately, he's dead now. I met one of his former lawyer partners or whatever in the grocery store, and she told me that he's not with us anymore. But I told him, I said, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm the guy that told you about how much I charge per hour, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I raised my fee. So I had an influence on him, if you will.
You did. He probably raised his fee to your rate or higher, right? I
don't know what he did. He didn't tell me what it was. I didn't ask him.
Oh, funny story.
So I'm glad I was able to give you all the smiles, and so whenever you're ready, I'll give you the time of day as much as you want.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate your references to the other resources and your contributions, Walter. Thanks.
So please, excuse me for exiting because my wife is up now getting ready.
That's
so
fine.
I have to get ready myself.
I understand.
Have a wonderful day.
All right. You too.
Happy holidays if I don't see you.
All right. Happy holidays to you. Thanks. Okay. We're going to get back to my script. I do have one. I know it doesn't seem like it at this point because we've had several people in talking about their different versions of the greatest expectations in their lives and how to magnify them. But I want to talk about the, with great expectations is at a basic level. Greater expectations, it's a progression to a higher plane in a metaphysical sense. And then the greatest expectations would be in my view, is the 30,000 foot level. Or if you want to be a little bit more advanced, you could say the view from outer space, looking at deep space, looking at the Milky Way. This just shifts our perspective in a powerful way if we imagine things in the mind of an astronaut who travels through space. But with magnifying our greatest expectations, I think we should strengthen the clarity of our magnificent vision. I think we all have that inside. We may not really see the magnificence of it, but I think if we search for that, that will surface. And we need to realize that sometimes we need glasses, binoculars, a telescope, a microscope to see something better. And with that magnification, we have a much clearer view. For example, with an electron microscope, you can see all kinds of things that you can't see with the naked eye. Same thing with a very powerful telescope. If you go to Mount Palomar and look at that telescope, you're going to see all kinds of planetary and intergalactic objects that we can't see with the naked eye. But with a powerful telescope, it's a different story. There's a powerful telescope in Hawaii that, you can see the same thing. With the Hubble Space Telescope, we just have a much clearer view of deep space and seeing objects that we didn't know that they existed and seeing them in different dimensions, different colors. And that can take us back, millions of years with the distance between here and those stars, those intergalactic objects. So I think what we need to do, if we want to increase and magnify our greatest expectations, we have to increase the power and energy involved. We have to do it effectively. We have to find the right tempo or pace to proceed to meet our goals. We have to dig internally and find the natural flow state, the ideal, optimal rate at which we can produce the maximum output to achieve the greatest expectations we could possibly imagine. If we do find that natural flow state, it's tough to stay there. It's really tough to stay there. We have to constantly search for clues that we might be out of flow, or if the flow vanishes, we have to find ways to get it back. And we have to try to make sure that flow returns, find those activities, those places which allow us to stay in flow. For me, running outside, running in nature with trees and animals and things like that, that helps me. It just spurs amazing degree of creativity, and you feel like you're you just feel like your thinking is faster. And instead of a tree with no branches, your ideas become a tree with many branches that are growing and leaves upon them. And it just sparks all kinds of creative activity. So if we achieve that natural flow state, we can produce greater quality, power, and strength with less effort. We all need to relax into abundance. We need to find an abundant sense of flow, a flow that is not directed or governed by scarcity, but looking at unlimited possibilities and outcomes that we could achieve. And I think a lot of this comes down to working with others, with collaborating with others. I firmly believe if we cooperate, that cooperation can produce miracles. If we take it seriously and really explore that to the fullest extent. But we need to not only be in flow, but to be in a sense of abundant flow. And if we align ourselves with positive forces, positive people going the right direction, wonderful things are going to happen. Things that will make us realize new possibilities, new paths that we didn't think were possible. And they'll become visible. Suddenly, the path will become illuminated and we won't know where that light came from. But a lot of times it comes from the people that we encounter. And sometimes it's the people we least expect who illuminate our lives and help us see where we're going. I think it's extremely important if we're talking about the greatest expectations and magnifying them, we need to look at who's in our inner circle, our closest friends, our top 5 people that we rely on for help, support, guidance, counsel, advice, collaboration, cooperation, etc. Those top 5 people matter a lot. And if you have negative, condescending people who are destructive towards you, you need to reconfigure that inner circle. And we need to recognize that we have all these concentric circles of people who are in our lives. And sometimes people may not belong in the innermost circle, but perhaps they belong in one of the outermost circles. If they're going to be destructive or negative towards us, we need to insulate ourselves from that and keep our source of positivity, to keep it protected, to keep that flame of positivity burning bright within us so that we can take that torch to others and spread that fire of positivity throughout the world. So choose carefully those 5 friends, make sure that they're positive people who are open and accepting of you, that aren't going to destroy you or, work at odds with what your intentions or goals are. I would try to delete negativity from your life that you can't constructively learn from. No, I have negative events that happen, and sometimes those are learning opportunities. And if that is the case, maybe it's not productive to delete that type of negativity. But if it's not something we can constructively learn something from, we just need to delete it. We don't have room for hanging on to all this baggage that we carry around. We have a friend named Tim Fargo on Twitter, and he talks about all of us only carrying one carry-on bag of baggage through life, that we only get one carry-on bag. We can't carry 2, 5, 10, 20. We carry all these grudges and things like that, or harsh feelings towards people, and life is too short to do that. So lighten your load and let those things go as best you can. We need to recognize sometimes we will have a stuck feeling or reach a plateau. We feel like we can't see where we're going. And at those points, it's best to pause, step back, look at things from the 30,000 foot level, from the greatest expectation point of view, and recognize that our lives have mountaintops and they have valleys. They're deserts that we have to wander through for reasons we don't understand. But I firmly believe that those valley and desert experiences lead us to the greatest events of our future. The most glorious adventures of our lives are still in front of us. We haven't reached those yet. So look for light, inspiration, illumination, and positivity in those people and folks that you align with. Make sure that they have the light, the inspiration, the illumination, and the positivity. If they don't, try to help them get all those 4 things right. It's important, I think, that all 4 be there. Some people might have all of them except positivity, and they might just need to find someone with a strong enough polarity of positivity that can help them move back to being a positive person. I think we need to all grow fiercely in the direction of our dreams, like a tree, like vegetables in the garden. We have to really grow fiercely in the direction of our dreams and not let weeds or harsh weather or challenges, chaos, other things that arise. We can't allow any of those to get in the way of our dreams. So I think one of the most important questions we need to ask is what is your primary mission in life? How can you fulfill it? Envision the ending, fulfill it, see it fulfilled, and then backfill the day-to-day steps to reach your goal. Reverse engineer the entire path if you can. I think if we can do that, that helps us see that it just takes incremental steps to get there, and that we don't have to take all those steps at once. I think we have to recognize that each day, if we take some steps toward achieving this primary mission in our lives, we can accomplish some very powerful things. It's very important that we all have meaningful connections. As I mentioned earlier, cooperation makes miracles happen. If we take it seriously and are connected to and aligned with the correct people who are going the right direction, and they're positive, supportive, helpful, collaborative. And I think we need to help each other without really counting the cost. We need to help each other boundlessly with abundance. And if we can do that, it just it fills other people with infinite possibilities of abundance themselves. And I think that has a spillover effect that will return to help us in ways we can't even imagine. I think there are infinite, abundant possibilities that we can't even imagine. We can try to, but someone next to us may have a grander vision of our own life than we can come up with. So recognize that. That's why it's so important to have others help us in painting that picture of what we want to achieve in our life, what we want our lifetime legacy to be, what we want to be the legacy of our families and children, our grandchildren, the foundation that we want to give them, the building blocks to construct an amazing transformational society that is much more positive, that isn't focused on negativity, on bad things happening, on chaos and destruction. We need to get away from all that. We need to move back towards the positive, good news. We need to tell each other good news every day. We need to find something positive in each day, something positive that we did, something positive that we learned. And we need to spread that to other people and to focus on keeping that positive, because there are people that are struggling so much that they're searching for the smallest bit of illumination, the smallest bit of positivity, smiling, laughter, happiness. And we may be the ones called upon to provide that. And we may be the only ones that really have the ability to provide that to them. So we need to realize that, and realize that those people could be anywhere in the world. They aren't necessarily their next door neighbors. They could be people in Asia, in Iceland, in Europe, in Africa. They could be anywhere in the world. And so that's why it's so important to have connections around the world, because it gives us a broader vision. And I think if we all become diplomats of peace and goodwill, and working with fairness and respect towards each other, we can really make some amazing things happen. We need to focus on being in the right place at the right time, with the right people, engaged in the right activity. And it's hard to line all those up. Sometimes we find that we have all those lined up, but perhaps we're not in the right activity, or we're doing the right activity, but we're doing it with the wrong people. And if we recognize that, we need to realign our circles, like I suggested, to make sure that innermost circle is as positive as possible, so that the fruits of our efforts will be greater, and they'll be more positive if we're aligned with the right people, and people with a common mission. And I think if we work on what's uniting us instead of what's dividing us, we find that our common mission is much closer to what others are than we might think. Let's focus and change our great expectations into our greatest expectations. Then magnify them to fully and optimally utilize all of our talents, all of our abilities, all of our strengths, and to utilize them to our greatest capacity. And it is there and then, and only then, that we will be able to actualize our visualized dreams. If we can actualize our visualized dreams after we magnify our goals into our greatest expectations, the world will be transformed. We will be transformed. Our friends and family, our neighbors will be transformed. So think about this. Think about not just about reading the great expectations. Think about living the great expectations, but to make them greater, greatest, magnifying them as far as we can to bring them into true abundance and flow. And I think if we can do that and we align with positive people who are determined to do what is good and right and honorable, and supporting each other and collaborating with each other, cooperating with each other, we can transform the world. Thank you for joining me today. This is Jeremy Murphy. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm the creator of the Positivity Patrol. You can find the Positivity Patrol at positivitypatrol.com. I will type it into the chat for anyone who's interested. And you can read some material on positivity that I've written there. I am writing a book called The Positivity Patrol. I'm on chapter 3 of the book right now. So feel free to stay tuned to updates from my website, which will tell you more about the publication of the book. I'm hoping to publish the book sometime next year. Still working on whether I'm going through a publisher or self-publishing. I'm hoping to possibly self-publish it now. That looks like the path that I'm proceeding upon. I'm also a life coach, available for one-to-one life coaching or group life coaching opportunities. Also a running coach, training to be a health coach, hopefully be a health coach certified coach by the end of this year. Just completing my requirements there. And I also do nutrition consulting. So if you want to find my running blog, that site is runninggrooveshark.com. You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy P. Murphy. And I'm also here on Blab. And I'm excited that Saturday is my next Blab that I'm hosting. I will be day 100 of Blab for me. So feel free to drop by and let me know what you think of Blab, what Blab's doing for you. But it's completely changed everything for me. So I'll be talking about that on Saturday. And I want to wish all of you a wonderful Thursday. Be thankful for something today. It is Thankful Thursday, even though it's a week after Thanksgiving. I think we all need to be grateful and thankful for something. And if we can be thankful for 1 to 3 things every day or more, I think that has a transformative effect upon us also. Some people are listing how many things they're thankful for, and I think I'm going to try to work on one of those lists myself. But if we can be truly thankful and grateful for the gifts we have, it is then that we can magnify our greatest expectations and be able to actualize our visualized dreams, our dreams of fulfilling our future, of fulfilling our mission, of living our legacy, and leaving the world in a better, much better than we found it, and using our full abilities and strengths to accomplish the mission that we're all here to accomplish. Thank you. It's Jeremy Murphy saying goodbye. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye.